Coming up on Mountain News this morning, April brought in plenty of severe storms that prompted officials to prepare for May. And UK's president is in jeopardy with the university's Senate calling in a vote of no confidence.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Madison Carmouche. We are coming up on 6 a.m. on this Tuesday morning, and it is a first alert weather day, so let's send it over to meteorologist Tim Drawbridge.
And Madison, indeed a first alert weather day, not only today, but also tomorrow. And I think today comes in two pieces, early to mid-afternoon, and then again later this evening into the overnight period. Most of the area is in an enhanced risk now for Wednesday, and all modes of severe weather on the table today and tomorrow. It is 61 visibility with some pea soup thick fog in spots, obviously outside our door here at WYMT, but in a number of locations across eastern and southern Kentucky this morning. So take the extra time you may need, 10, 15, maybe a little bit more, to be able to get around the region this morning. A lot of us between 60 and 65. The satellite weather composite, a few showers departing Louisa, also leaving our southern counties into western portions of Virginia. So for today, partly sunny, a bit breezy, scattered showers and thunder showers again. Basically time frame lunch hour, 3, 4 o'clock, and then again after 7 into the overnight period tonight, the high up to 82. More about the first alert 7-day forecast. Yes, there's cooler weather on the way too. It's coming up in a few moments. Madison?
All right, Tim, thank you. With severe weather in the forecast this week, we are looking back at a damaging month for some Kentucky counties and how crews are readying up for another potentially stormy month. Alexa Minton spoke with emergency management officials who tell us how to best prepare for intense storms.
So severe weather, you think April showers bring May flowers. It also brings severe weather.
Tornadoes touched down in 10 Kentucky counties this April, leaving serious damage behind in places like Anderson, Bourbon, Clark, and Jessamine County. Many in those areas are still trying to rebuild more than a month later, ahead of another round of severe weather.
After a tornado hits a community, emergency management role then becomes one of recovery. So we'll monitor the weather as it's coming, help people get prepared, help the response with the first responders such as police and fire, but then afterwards we help take care of the community.
According to preliminary reports from the National Weather Service Storm Prediction Center, the month of April had the second most tornadoes on record, with 300 confirmed nationwide. At least 19 of those hit Kentucky. The most was in April 2011, when there were 757 tornadoes across the country.
After a severe weather event hits, start looking for information coming out from your local emergency management agency, not just us, but everywhere, because we'll be helping coordinate federal and state resources to those people who were affected by the storm.
With an active weather pattern promised for the week ahead, it will be important for folks to have weather preparedness kits in case damaging winds or even tornadic activity hits their home.
So when it comes to severe weather, all we can do is be prepared. I can't tell Mother Nature what to do, as much as I would like it for it to be 75 and sunny all the time. Make sure you have multiple ways to receive weather alerts and notifications in the case of a weather event.
For WKYT, I'm First Alert Meteorologist Alexa Minton.
A man is recovering after falling into a sinkhole in western Kentucky. First responders say they pulled the man from the hole near Plano Road in Warren County after he fell nearly 30 feet. The Plano fire chief says they believe the man was trapped for about an hour before being rescued.
He was out in the field working, and it was raining or had been raining at the time, and I think just fell on some slick leaves, and he just kept falling. Someone working in the area heard him screaming, and that's how they found him.
The sheriff's office says the man was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. The University of Kentucky Senate voted for a resolution last night saying they have no confidence in President Eli Capilouto. It comes after the Board of Trustees approved changes to strip the Senate of its policy-making power, leaving the senators to make a last-ditch effort yesterday and take an attention-getting vote. No confidence in President Eli Capilouto was the outcome. So what does that mean?
We know that a vote of no confidence isn't going to do anything, but it says going forward, we see what's going on, we know what you've done, we know how you've divided the university community against each other.
The resolution also calls on the Board of Trustees to redo its process of shared governance reform. As it stands, the board is scheduled to give final approval to those changes next month. Senate leadership says they are considering holding an emergency meeting before then and possibly extending their vote of no confidence to include the board. Capilouto said in a statement he hopes the campus can move forward together. Derby fever is still high for one horse farm in Lexington. It's called Magdalena Farm, owned by Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks winning trainer Kenny McPeak. The farm also foaled Kentucky Derby champion Mystic Dan. Kelsey Soto and photojournalist Darnell Crenshaw take us to the stables as farm hands and management are still on cloud nine after the photo finish.
I don't know that it's really sunk in.
I'm just speechless, honestly.
Still to this day, I pinch myself to see if I'm dreaming.
Come on the property of Magdalena Farm and you can get a whiff of Derby fever.
Lots of congratulatory text messages and phone calls. It's been great.
Kenny McPeak is the owner of this farm and now back-to-back champion trainer of the Kentucky Oaks, won by Torpedo Anna and the 150th Kentucky Derby winner, Mystic Dan. Lauren Pashuta is the office manager on the farm. She was at the finish line when McPeak's horse Torpedo Anna won the Kentucky Oaks. But she was on the backside during the Derby watching Mystic Dan's photo finish, and the outcome was in doubt.
We were like, woohoo, and then it was like, oh, wait, and then we were, after that it was just speechless. We had no words. We were all crying and hugging each other.
And it's special for the farm.
On the right, this very first stall is where Mystic Dan was born.
Tour groups who had scheduled a visit prior to the big win were caught up in the hype.
They get to see a horse as part of history, but they also get to see the people who are part of history.
Just knowing that you had a small part to do with that, honestly, man, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel like you're walking on the clouds.
Aaron Kennedy helped manage Mystic Dan's feeding program, which is vital to the horse's success.
A $5,000 mare and a $10,000 stud fee and win one of the richest races in the world, it's mind-boggling.
Kennedy has ink of a few famous horses he's handled, and come Wednesday, he's going to make room for a new tat of Mystic Dan. In Lexington, Kelsey Soto, WKYT.
Mystic Dan's mother and siblings also call Magdalena Farm home. Kentucky Secretary of State has been selected as the next recipient of the 2024 Profile in Courage Award. The award from the John F. Kennedy Library Foundation recognizes public servants who risk their careers by putting the public interest ahead of their own political standing. Michael Adams is being recognized for his defense of fair elections and his work to expand voting rights despite political and personal threats. Past winners of the award include former presidents George H.W. Bush and Barack Obama.
A good Tuesday morning to you. Visibility low in a number of locations this morning, as low as a half mile in spots at times over the last hour. In fact, Harlan checking in with a visibility of a half mile or less. So take the pedal off the metal and use the extra time you need to get where you need to go this morning. That's only one thing we need to talk about this morning. Temperature-wise, basically 60 to 65. Manchester now has dropped down to 59. The pinpoint Doppler radar, a few showers still south of Hazard, tracking out toward Norton, departing Louisa into southern portions of West Virginia. Now, the other aspect, at least for today, which is element number 2, is the strong to severe weather threat. Early afternoon, let's say 1 to about 3, maybe 4 o'clock, and then after 7 o'clock into the overnight period. Up to 82 in Hazard. The third concern is tomorrow. The timing and how potent that could be. Your first alert 7-day forecast is coming up in just a few moments. Madison?
Thanks, Tim, and thank you for joining Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. When we return, travelers might need new identification soon as next year's IDs everywhere will be changing.